Hello, students. Today we are going to read the chapter entitled The Tsunami. As the title suggests, we are going to read some incidents about those people who experienced tsunami. What is the theme of the chapter? The chapter is about a natural calamity causing huge destruction, and we know tsunami causes huge destruction and loss of life and property. So this chapter is about the calamity and what destruction, what loss of life and property is there after tsunami. Alongside the story of deep sorrow are reassuring details of courage, survival, and resilience. We will also see how people show courage, how they survive despite this catastrophe, and their resilience. So the theme is quite clear. It is about a natural calamity, its destruction, and about the bravery, the courage of people to overpower that tragedy. What are the key points of the chapter? The chapter is divided into three parts, and all the parts are related to tsunami. First part is about Ignatius, who lost his wife, his two children, his father in law, and his brother in law in the tsunami. And the second story we will read about Sanjeev, who saved his wife and daughter, but he could not save himself while attempting to save the wife of John, the guest house cook. Sanjeev, who managed to save his wife and daughter, but when he saw that the wife of John was in danger, she was drowning, he jumped into the water, but he could not save himself as well as that lady. And the third story is about Alma, whose father realized that a tsunami was going to hit the island but washed away with his father. Alma's father, he knew that tsunami was going to come. He alarmed everyone, and when he saw that his father was in danger, he went to his father, but he could not save his father. Alma's mother and aunt, they were also washed away with the tree that they were holding. Both of them were holding a tree, but they were washed away with that tree. Alma saved in that catastrophe. And the second part is about Tilly. She was a British girl, and we will know how the intelligence of Tilly saved lives of so many people from tsunami. And the third part is about the sixth sense of animals. How animals can sense such natural calamities and save their own lives as well as the lives of others. So in third part we will see that despite the death of so many people, the death of animals are not much. Now let us read the chapter. A tsunami is a very large and powerful wave. We all know what tsunami is. A tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by, and the wave is created by earthquakes under the sea. So, how the tsunami is created? Because of the earthquake under the sea, large waves are created. On 26 December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and parts of India, such as the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Here are some stories of courage and survival. We will read some stories of courage and survival of the earthquake of the tsunami that came on 26th December at the coastal part of India. Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? Some stories suggest that they did. We will also read about the sense of animals who saved the lives of themselves and also the lives of others. Part first. These stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. Archipelago, a group of many islands. So the stories of first part are from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Ignatius was the manager of a cooperative society in Kachal. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. So Ignatius, who was working in a cooperative society, and early in the morning his wife woke him because she felt some shaking of the earthquake. Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. So Ignatius carefully took the television set off away. The television set was on the table. He put the television set onto the ground so that it will not break. Then the family rushed out of the house, and this was told in disaster management that whenever earthquakes are there, we should come out of our houses, and same was done by Ignatius and his family. They came out of their house. When the tremors stopped, tremors, earthquakes, shaking of the earth, when the shaking of the earth stopped, they saw the sea rising. Then they saw that the surface of the sea rises. It means large waves are created there. Large waves are being created there in the sea. In the chaos, state of confusion. In that state of confusion, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother and rushed in the opposite direction. So everyone was disturbed. There was confusion all about. So two of his children caught hold. They held the hands of their mother's father, the grandfather, maternal grandfather, and mother's brother, maternal uncle, and rushed in the opposite direction. And they ran in the opposite direction. Opposite direction from what? From where the wave was coming. They went to the opposite direction of the wave. He never saw them again, and Ignatius did not see them again. His wife was also swept away. His wife also died there. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. So, who was saved? Only the three children who came with Ignatius managed to save their lives. They managed to save their lives, and the rest of the family members got washed away. Ignatius' brother in law, his father in law, his wife, everyone died. Now, the second story is of Sanjeev. Sanjeev was a policeman serving in Kachal Island of the Nicobar group of islands. He somehow managed to save himself, his wife, and his baby daughter from the waves. When tsunami came there at the Nicobar group of islands, he managed to save his family, his wife, baby, daughter. But then he heard cries for help from the wife of John. Then he heard that the wife of John was crying for help. The guest house cook, John was. Sanjeev jumped into the water to rescue her, to save the life of her. But they were both swept away. But this time, Sanjeev could not save himself as well as that lady. Now, the third story is of Meghna. 13-year-old Meghna was swept away along with her parents and 77 other people. She spent 2 days floating in the sea, holding on to a wooden door. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead, but they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave and was found walking on the seashore in a day. So, this is the story of 13-year-old Meghna. She was also swept away, and along with her, 77 other people were also there. They were also swept away in the water. She spent 2 days floating in the sea. For 2 days, they remained onto the sea. 11 times she saw relief helicopters overhead. Over their heads, she saw relief helicopters there. 11 times it flew over their heads, but they did not see her. She was brought to the shore by a wave, and then a large wave came and she was put to the shore by the wave. Shore edge at the bank of that sea. And was found walking on the seashore, and after some time she got consciousness. She regained consciousness, and she was walking on the seashore in a daze, in a confused state, because she was really confused. Now we will read the story of Almas Javed. Almas Javed was 10-year-old girl. She was a student of Carmel Convent in Port Blair, where her father had a petrol pump. Her father was an owner of a petrol pump. Her mother, Rahila's home was in Nankauri Island, and the home of her mother was in Nankauri Island, and the family had gone there to celebrate Christmas. So, at Christmas, everyone was there at the house of Alma Javed's mother. When the tremor, when the earthquake came, when the shaking of the earth came, early in the morning, the family was sleeping, everyone was sleeping. Alma's father saw the sea water recede, and Alma's father noticed that the sea water was getting back, recede. It was moving back. Then he understood that the water would come rushing back with great force because they lived in coastal area, and they knew what is the nature of an earthquake, what is the nature of tsunami. So first the water comes, it recedes, and then again it comes with greater force. And Alma Javed's father knew this. He woke everyone up and tried to rush them to the safer place. He woke everyone up and he tried to move them to a safe place. As they ran, her grandfather was hit on the head by something, and he fell down. The grandfather of Alma fell down because he was hit onto his head. Her father rushed to help him. Then came the first giant, a large. Then came the first large wave that swept both of them away. So that large wave came and swept both Alma's father and Alma's grandfather. Both of them were swept away by that large wave. Alma's mother and aunt stood clinging to the leaves of a coconut tree, calling out to her. Alma's mother and aunt, they were also standing to some distance, and they were holding coconut tree. They were holding the leaves of coconut tree, and they were calling out to Alma. A wave uprooted the tree. The tree got uprooted with a large wave, and they too were washed away. They also died. Alma saw a log of wood floating. She saw that a log of wood was floating. She climbed onto it, then she fainted. Then she got unconscious. She lost her consciousness. When she woke up and when she regained her consciousness, when she came to her senses, she was in the hospital in Kamota. From there, she was brought to Port Blair, and from that hospital, she was brought to Port Blair. The little girl does not want to talk about the incident because she was really shocked. She had lost everyone of her family in that wave with anyone, and she does not want to discuss about that incident with anyone. She is still traumatized. She is really shocked. She is still shocked by that wave, by that incident. Now we are going to read part second of the chapter. This is about Tilly Smith. She was a British schoolgirl and was able to save many lives when the tsunami struck Phuket Beach in Thailand. And as she had saved many lives, she became popular and she had won a number of awards. Her parents have not allowed their daughter to be interviewed on television, but her parents, though she had won a lot of awards, but her parents did not want her to give interview on television and they did not want to make her a heroine. Why do you think they took that decision? Why do you think that her parents did not allow her to be popular, to be interviewed on TV? Now, here's a story from Thailand. Earlier, the stories were from Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Now, this is the story from Thailand. The Smith family from southeast England were celebrating Christmas at the beach resort in southern Thailand. Tilly Smith, with her parents, were here at Thailand to celebrate Christmas. Tilly Smith was a 10-year-old schoolgirl. Her sister was 7-year-old. Their parents were Penny and Colin Smith. This was the family. It was 26 December 2004. Deadly tsunami waves were already on their way. Tsunami waves were coming. They had been triggered by a massive earthquake off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. That tsunami caused. The tsunami was triggered, caused, describes a sudden violent reaction here. Those tsunami waves were caused by a massive earthquake, massive, large, huge earthquake was there off northern Sumatra earlier that morning. So the earthquake was there at northern Sumatra, and from there the tsunami waves were created. The water was swelling, rising high, and kept coming, and the water was coming there on the shore. Penny Smith remembered the beach was getting smaller and smaller. Penny Smith, when she reminds of that incident, she remembered that the beach was getting smaller and smaller. It means the beach is going to be swallowed by water. I did not know what was happening. And because she had not experienced tsunami before, that's why she did not know what was happening that day. But Tilly Smith sensed that something was wrong. But she felt, sensed, but she felt that something was going wrong there. Her mind kept going back to a geography lesson she had taken in England just 2 weeks before she flew out to Thailand with her family. Then she remembered a geography lesson taught in her school by her teacher. Tilly saw the sea slowly rise. She saw that the sea was rising and start to foam, and foam is created there. Froth and foam is created, bubbles are getting there, and foam whirlpools. And whirlpools are being created in the sea. She remembered that she had seen this in class in a video of a tsunami that had hit the Hawaiian Islands in 1946. So she read about tsunami that came to Hawaiian Islands and the same signs were there that she could see that day. Her geography teacher had shown her class the video and told them that tsunamis can be caused by earthquakes. She knew that tsunami could be caused by earthquakes Tsunamis can be caused by volcanoes and landslides as well. So she had heard about tsunami in her class, and the same symptoms and the same situation is being created there. Tilly started to scream at her family to get off the beach. So she started to shout, she started to cry, and she wanted to call her family members. She wanted to say them to go off away from the beach. She talked about an earthquake under the sea, and she told that there was an earthquake under the sea. She got more and more hysterical. She was getting mad. She was shouting aloud because she knew what was happening there. Said her mother, panic. I did not know what a tsunami was. Her mother did not know what a tsunami was. She had not seen any tsunami. She had not experienced any tsunami. But seeing my daughter so frightened, but when the mother saw that the daughter was so much frightened, she was so much afraid, then she thought something serious must be going on. Then she realized and thought that something bad, something serious was going to happen. That's why they just moved off from the shore. Tilly's parents took her and her sister away from the beach. They went away from the beach to the swimming pool at the hotel. A number of other tourists also left the beach with them because of the alarm that was shouted by that girl, Tilly. Then it was as if the entire sea had come out after them. Then it happened as if the whole sea had come out after them. The whole sea had engulfed the shore. I was screaming, run! I was screaming. She was just screaming, run! She was just shouting, run! The family took refuge in the third floor of the hotel. They took shelter in the third floor of the hotel. The building withstood the surge large wave. Here's the tsunami. The building withstood, tolerated, faced of three tsunami waves. If they had stayed on the beach, they would not have been alive. If they had stayed there, if they had not heard the sound of Tilly, they would have remained there. Then they would have been swollen by the sea. They would have died that time. The Smiths later met other tourists who had lost entire families. The Smiths, family of Tilly, they met other tourists as well who had lost entire families because they did not hear the alarm of Tilly, or they did not take her seriously. Thanks to Tilly and her geography lesson, they had been forewarned. What the writer says, that this is because of Tilly and what she learned in that geography lesson, that she gave the warning beforehand. Forewarned, she gave the warning beforehand, and so many people could save their lives. Tilly went back to her school in England and told her classmates a terrifying tale. Tilly went to school and told what happened to her. It was a terrifying tale that she told to everyone in the school. Now we will read third part of the chapter. And we know that this part is about the sixth sense that animals possess. Before the giant large waves slammed hit into the coast in India and Sri Lanka, wild and domestic animals seemed to about what was about to happen. So when the large waves came, it seemed as if the domestic animals and the wild animals, they knew about the tsunami earlier. They fled to safety, fled They went flee, fled, fled. So they went to safe places. According to eyewitnesses, according to the people who had seen eyewitnesses, according to what was said by those eyewitnesses, elephants screamed, trumpeted, elephants were creating noise and ran for higher ground. And elephants ran for higher ground, raised ground, because the elephants knew that tsunami was going to be there. Dogs refused to go outdoors. Dogs did not leave their houses. Flamingos, birds, a type of bird, abandoned their low lying breeding areas, and flamingos who breed in low lying areas, not very high areas. So, flamingos, birds, they left their houses, they left their breeding areas because they knew that the waves were coming. And zoo animals rushed into their shelters and could not be enticed, attracted to come back out. And the animals in the zoo, they also got to their shelters, to safe places, to their safe position, and they were not attracted by anyone to come out, and they did not come out. Many people believe that animals have a sixth sense and know when the earth is going to shake. Many people believe that animals know about such catastrophes. They have such sixth sense as they could sense those catastrophes. Some experts believe that animals' more acute hearing helps them to hear or feel the earth's vibration. And some experts, they say that animals could know about those catastrophes because their hearing capacity is so high. They could feel the earth's vibration. They can sense an approaching disaster. They can feel an approaching disaster beforehand, long before humans realize what's going on. So, long before human beings could feel what was happening, animals could feel it earlier. We cannot be sure whether animals have a sixth sense or not. We cannot say for sure that they have got sixth sense or some other attributes they have there in their bodies. But the fact is that the giant wave that rolled through the Indian Ocean killed more than 150,000 people in a dozen countries. So tsunami, it hit more than 150,000 people in so many countries, in a dozen countries, but not many animals have been reported dead. So this was a proof that animals do have some extra qualities. Animals do have that sense by which they could feel the approaching of these natural calamities. Along India's Kudalore coast, where thousands of people perished, thousands of people were perished, buffaloes, goats, and dogs were found unharmed. So thousands of people died. But those domesticated animals, buffaloes, goats, and dogs, they were found unharmed. No harm was done to them. The Yala National Park in Sri Lanka is home to a variety of animals, including elephants, leopards, and 130 species of birds. In Yala National Park, where so many animals would live, 60 visitors were washed away. 60 visitors were killed, inundated by the wave. The Patnangala beach inside the park. So 60 visitors were washed away from the Patnangala beach inside the park. 50 people got killed. But No animal carcasses were found. Carcasses, dead bodies, but not a single animal's dead body was found. Except for two water buffaloes, only two water buffaloes' dead bodies were found about an hour before the tsunami hit. So, before the tsunami hit, 1 hour before, people at Yala National Park had observed, they had noticed three elephants running away from Patnangala beach. So they noticed that from Patnangala beach, three elephants ran away. It means they had sensed it earlier, 1 hour before the tsunami hit. A Sri Lankan gentleman who lives on the coast near Gale said his two dogs would not go for their daily run on the beach. A person who lived there near the coastal area near Gale, his two dogs who would daily go for a walk, go on the beach, but that day they refused to go. The dogs refused to go out. They are usually excited to go on this outing. They are usually excited. Generally, they are very excited to go out for a walk, to go out, to run on the beach. But on that day, they refused to go and most probably saved his life. But that day, they did not go. They refused. They denied to go. And and this saved the life of the owner of those dogs. So we have read some accounts of the people who have experienced tsunami, some pathetic stories of those people who had lost their families, and some people who had managed to save the lives of other people. We have also heard about the sixth sense that animals possess. So now let us know about the moral of the chapter. The chapter teaches values such as courage, care, and compassion in the bitter struggle for survival and rehabilitation. So it makes us be courageous. It makes us be careful and compassionate whenever such catastrophe is there. By reading the chapter, we should realize the importance of doing whatever possible to save human and animal life. So we should do whatever possible by us on our part to save the lives of so many people, to save the lives of animals. We should take part in relief work during such disasters. And this is really an important thing, relief work. And we should consider the situation of those people who suffer in such natural calamities. And we should take part in relief programs. We should also learn life skills in disaster management. And this can save our life and lives of so many people, as in the case of Tilly, who saved so many lives. So it was really a good chapter. We have got so many accounts of bravery here. I hope you have grabbed this chapter well. Thank you for watching the video patiently, and bye till my next video.